Welcome back to DreamHarbour, traveler. The harbour lights are glowing softly tonight, and the tide is moving with its usual gentle rhythm between waking and dreaming. I have another story for you, and I am glad you have arrived. Tonight, I would like to tell you a story called The Tea House Beside the Summer Rain. At the edge of a quiet village, where stone pathways curved between flower gardens and old willow trees, there stood a tea house with wide windows and a roof that listened carefully to every rainfall. The tea house had been there for so many years that nobody could quite remember when it was built. Children grew into grandparents while its lanterns continued to glow each evening. Seasons arrived and departed. Vines climbed the walls and were trimmed again. The paint faded and was renewed. Yet the tea house remained, as steady and welcoming as a favorite song. What made it special was not its age. It was the rain. Every summer, when warm clouds drifted over the valley and gentle showers began to fall, people found themselves drawn toward the tea house almost without thinking. Some arrived carrying books. Some arrived carrying baskets. Some came after long days tending gardens. Others simply came because they liked the sound of rain against the windows. And inside the tea house, there was always room. The owner was a woman named Myra. She was neither young nor old. Most people simply thought of her as belonging to the tea house itself. When they pictured the polished wooden tables, they pictured Myra arranging cups nearby. When they imagined the shelves lined with teapots, they imagined Myra dusting them gently. When they remembered rainy afternoons, they remembered her smile. Each morning she arrived before sunrise. The village would still be quiet. Mist would rest among the hedges. The first birds would only just be beginning their songs. Myra would unlock the front door and pause for a moment beneath the little brass bell hanging above it. The bell never rang loudly. It offered a soft note, barely more than a whisper. Then she would begin her routine. The windows would be open to welcome the morning air. The wooden floors would be swept. Fresh flowers would be arranged in simple ceramic vases. Water would be heated. Teacups would be placed carefully upon shelves. Nothing in the routine changed very much. And that was precisely why people loved it. The tea house was a place where things did not hurry. The world outside sometimes changed quickly. New roofs appeared. Old trees fell during storms. Children grew taller. Neighbors moved away and new neighbors arrived. But the tea house continued its quiet rhythm. The tables remained warm beneath resting hands. The windows continued gathering raindrops. The scent of tea leaves continued drifting through the rooms. And every summer, the rain returned. Myra especially loved the first rainy afternoon of the season. She always noticed it before anyone else. The clouds would gather softly over distant hills. The sunlight would become gentler. Leaves would turn their undersides toward the breeze. Somewhere far away, thunder might murmur so quietly that it sounded more like a memory than a sound. Then the rain would begin. Not suddenly. Not dramatically. Just a few drops at first. Tiny circles upon stone pathways. Tiny taps against window glass. Tiny greetings from the sky. The tea house always seemed to exhale when the rain arrived. The roof settled into familiar sounds. The gardens outside deepened in color. The air grew rich with the scent of wet earth and blooming flowers. And before long, the first visitors appeared. One rainy afternoon, early in the summer season, Myra stood beside the front window watching silver drops slide down the glass. The village beyond looked softened. Roofs gleamed. Garden paths darkened. Flower petals held shining beads of water. Everything appeared calmer beneath the rain. The first visitor that day was a gardener named Thomas. He arrived carrying a straw hat dotted with raindrops. He removed it carefully before entering. The bell above the door offered its gentle note. "Good afternoon," he said. "Good afternoon," Myra replied. She already knew his favorite tea. Within moments he was seated beside the window, warming his hands around a steaming cup while watching the rain. Soon another visitor arrived. Then another. Then several more. A musician carrying a violin case. A baker finished with the morning's work. Two sisters who often spent rainy afternoons reading together. An elderly teacher who enjoyed crossword puzzles. By mid-afternoon the tea house was comfortably full. Not crowded. Never crowded. Simply full in the way a nest feels full when every twig is exactly where it belongs. Outside, the rain continued its patient conversation with the village. Inside, cups rested upon saucers. Pages turned quietly. Conversations drifted like gentle currents. Now and then laughter rose softly and disappeared again. The rain seemed to gather all those small moments together, as though it were weaving them into a single peaceful afternoon. Summer moved forward. Rainy days came and went. The tea house settled into its seasonal rhythm. Some mornings were bright and sunny. Others arrived beneath silver clouds. But every rainfall brought familiar comfort. Myra often thought the rain had its own personality. Not a voice exactly. Not even a presence. Just a way of being. The rain never demanded attention. It never hurried anyone. It simply arrived, touched the world gently, and remained for a while. There was something restful about that. Something worth learning from. One evening after closing, Myra remained by the window longer than usual. Rain tapped softly against the glass. The village lanterns glowed beyond the gardens. The streets were empty. Most people had already returned home. She wrapped her hands around a warm cup of tea and listened. The roof hummed quietly overhead. Leaves rustled. Water flowed along stone gutters. Nothing else. No urgency. No expectation. Just the simple sound of rain existing exactly as it wished. And for a little while, Myra did the same. As the summer deepened, the village began preparing for a small tradition. It was not a festival. Not exactly. There were no parades. No speeches. No fireworks. Instead, it was something much quieter. Each year during the middle of summer, the villagers gathered memories of rainy days. They wrote them in journals. Sketched them on scraps of paper. Pressed flowers collected after showers. Copied favorite recipes enjoyed during storms. Recorded songs played while rain touched the rooftops. Then, on a single evening, they brought these memories to the tea house. The gathering had begun many years earlier. Nobody remembered whose idea it had been. And nobody particularly cared. The tradition belonged to everyone now. As the special evening approached, small signs of preparation appeared throughout the village. Children searched for colorful leaves. Gardeners saved unusual blossoms. Writers filled notebooks. Musicians practiced gentle melodies. The baker experimented with new recipes. Even the village cat seemed curious about the extra activity. Meanwhile, the rain continued arriving faithfully every few days. Never too heavy. Never too long. Just enough to keep the gardens flourishing and the streams singing softly through the valley. One afternoon, Myra climbed a small ladder to retrieve a wooden box stored on a high shelf. Inside were memories from previous summers. Drawings. Recipes. Pressed flowers. Tiny handwritten stories. Simple observations. One note contained only a single sentence. The rain sounded happiest today. Another read. Tea tastes warmer when clouds are nearby. Myra smiled. The collection was not important because of grand ideas. It was important because it preserved ordinary moments. Moments people might otherwise forget. And often, those were the moments that mattered most. The evening of the gathering finally arrived beneath gentle grey clouds. The rain had been falling lightly since morning. By sunset, droplets shimmered along every leaf and flower in the village. Lanterns glowed behind windows. Stone paths reflected warm golden light. The tea house seemed especially welcoming. People arrived carrying boxes, notebooks, baskets, and folded pieces of paper. The bell above the door rang softly again and again. Myra greeted everyone. Soon every table held small collections of memories. A gardener shared sketches of roses after rain. The baker offered slices of honey cake inspired by stormy afternoons. A musician played a melody that seemed to drift like mist over water. Children displayed drawings of puddles, clouds, and ducks. Neighbors exchanged stories. Nobody hurried. Nobody needed to. Outside, rain whispered against the roof. Inside, warm light filled every corner. At one point the musician paused. The room became quiet. Everyone listened. Not to a speech. Not to an announcement. Just to the rain. For several moments, that was all. Rain upon the roof. Rain against the windows. Rain among the leaves. The sound felt familiar to everyone. Shared. Comforting. Like a friend who had visited every summer for as long as anyone could remember. When the gathering ended, people returned home carrying lighter hearts. The tea house grew quiet once more. Myra tidied tables. Stacked cups. Blew out lanterns. Then she stood beside the window. The rain was still falling. Softly. Steadily. The village slept beneath it. And the tea house listened. The weeks continued drifting by. Summer reached its warmest days. Garden flowers opened fully. Tomatoes ripened in backyard plots. Bees moved lazily among blossoms. The tea house remained busy during rainy afternoons and peaceful during sunny mornings. Some days brought many visitors. Some days brought only a few. Both felt equally pleasant. Myra had long ago learned that quiet days were not empty. They simply offered different gifts. On quieter afternoons she enjoyed small tasks. Polishing teapots. Rearranging books. writing observations in her notebook, watching clouds travel across the valley. One rainy day she noticed a young girl sitting alone near the back window. The girl held a sketchbook. For nearly an hour she drew nothing. She only watched the rain. Eventually she made a few small lines upon the page. Then she returned to watching. Myra brought her a warm cup of herbal tea. The girl smiled. "What are you drawing?" Myra asked. The girl considered. "The sound," she replied. Myra nodded as though that made perfect sense. Perhaps it did. After all, the tea house had spent years doing something similar. Not drawing the sound of rain, but holding it, keeping it, allowing people to rest inside it. Summer afternoons developed a dreamlike rhythm. Rain, sunshine, rain again. Gardens flourished. Streams sparkled. Clouds drifted across blue skies. Visitors came and went. The tea house welcomed them all. Sometimes entire conversations revolved around weather. Not because anything dramatic happened. Simply because everyone enjoyed noticing it. The shape of clouds. The scent after rainfall. The way sunlight returned. The way leaves glittered. The way distant hills changed color beneath shifting skies. These small observations became part of village life. Part of the tea house. Part of the season itself. As summer slowly began leaning toward autumn, the rains changed slightly. Their rhythm softened. Their visits grew less frequent. The clouds appeared higher. The evenings arrived earlier. Golden light lingered longer across the fields. Myra noticed every change. Not with sadness. With appreciation. Seasons were not meant to stay. Part of their beauty came from their movement. The tea house understood this. The gardens understood this. The rain understood this. And so did the village. One evening, after a brief shower, sunlight emerged beneath the clouds. The entire valley glowed. Leaves shone. Windows sparkled. Drops hanging from flowers became tiny lanterns. People paused wherever they happened to be. Some stood in gardens. Some watched from porches. Others gathered beside the tea house windows. Nobody wanted to miss the sight. For several minutes, the world seemed woven from gold and silver. Then gradually the light softened. The moment passed. And somehow that made it even more precious. Later that night, Myra wrote about it in her notebook. Only a few lines. Nothing elaborate. Just enough to remember. Because she had learned something over the years. Beautiful moments did not need large descriptions. They only needed attention. The final weeks of summer arrived gently. Rain visited less often now. When it came, people welcomed it like an old friend nearing the end of a long stay. The tea house remained warm. The windows remained bright. The tables remained familiar. Everything continued as it always had. And yet everything carried the quiet awareness that seasons move onward. One afternoon, rain returned after several dry days. Visitors smiled when they heard it begin. Books were set aside. Conversations paused. People looked toward the windows. The first drops traced familiar paths down the glass. The roof answered with familiar music. For a while, nobody seemed eager to leave. They sat comfortably in their chairs, holding warm cups, watching silver threads of rain connect sky and earth. Listening. Simply listening. The hours passed almost unnoticed. Eventually evening arrived. The rain faded. Visitors gathered their belongings. The bell offered gentle farewells as each person departed. Soon only Myra remained. She walked slowly through the quiet rooms, past shelves of teapots, past polished tables, past windows reflecting lantern light. The tea house seemed content, as though it, too, had enjoyed another rainy afternoon. She extinguished the lanterns one by one. The room grew dim. Outside, clouds drifted peacefully across the sky. The gardens rested. The village rested. Even the rain seemed ready for sleep. Myra paused at the doorway before leaving. For a moment she looked back. Not because she expected anything to happen. Not because she was waiting for anything. Simply because she appreciated the sight. The quiet room. The waiting cups. The gentle darkness. The lingering memory of rain. Then she smiled and closed the door. The days that followed became softer. The pace of village life eased. Summer began folding itself carefully away. Morning air carried hints of autumn. The tea house settled into quieter rhythms. Visitors still arrived. Tea still steamed. Books still opened beside windows. But everything seemed slightly slower now. Slightly gentler. As though the season itself were preparing for rest. And perhaps it was. The rain visited once more. A calm evening shower. Nothing remarkable. Nothing unusual. Just rain falling softly through twilight. The tea house listened. The gardens listened. The village listened. And somewhere within those familiar sounds rested countless memories of summer afternoons. Warm cups. Turning pages. Shared smiles. Quiet observations. Golden light. Silver clouds. Simple moments. Moments worth remembering. Moments that had never needed to be extraordinary. Because they had always been enough. And now, traveler, our story is growing quiet. The tea house rests beside its garden. The windows glow softly. A few raindrops still linger upon the glass. The tables wait peacefully for tomorrow. The shelves stand calm and still. Beyond them, the village sleeps beneath a sky of drifting clouds. Nothing is hurried. Nothing is expected. Nothing needs to be done. You can simply rest here for a while. Listen to the gentle rain. Listen to the quiet roof. Listen to the soft breath of summer settling into evening. The tea house remains exactly where it has always been. Warm. Welcoming. Patient. A small corner of the world where people gather, slow down, and remember the comfort of ordinary things. And as the story drifts toward stillness, the rain grows softer. The windows grow dimmer. The lantern light becomes golden and distant. The village fades gently into the quiet. The gardens rest. The pathways rest. The flowers rest. The tea house rests. And now we find ourselves once more near the shores of DreamHarbour. The harbour lights are waiting, just as they always are. The tide moves gently between waking and dreaming. The story can settle here. The rain can settle here. You can settle here too. Tomorrow night, another traveller will arrive. Another story will be told. Another peaceful corner of the dreaming world will open its doors. But tonight, there is only the harbour. Only the soft lights. Only the gentle tide. And the knowledge that DreamHarbour remembers every traveller who visits, even when the stories themselves drift away like rain beyond a window. I will remain here beside the harbour, keeping watch over the lantern light until morning comes. For now, let the tide carry your thoughts a little farther from shore. Let the quiet deepen. Let your breathing grow easy. Let sleep arrive whenever it wishes. Good night, traveller. Good night. And welcome always to DreamHarbour.